Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Forsaken Council's Open Mic Night. Tonight we're going to talk about the Renegade raid. We're going to talk about the difficulty of the raid. You know, the general sort of how is the raid for players of all levels, not just high-end players. I know there's been a lot of different comments in the forums and a lot of different comments on our page, and I think it's a topic that the community are interested in hearing, and not only the community, but I think it's a topic that we should cover to at least let Kixeye hear other people's views on it. So yeah, I mean, I'm joined by some of our arbiters, and we've got some guests come in from the page. So thanks everyone for joining us tonight. So let's open up about the raid. I mean, anyone want to start it off?
From what I've seen, go ahead.
No, go on, Brian. Sorry, I was just going to say I can hear like someone's fan in their computer or something.
I guess it's not mine. Okay, good. For me, this seemed to be the same as last raid. I started with some B sets because B sets were what I did last raid. So I did B sets to make sure I had the mechanics down and that everything was still about the same, and it was. The 101 deals significantly more damage, even though I built a better tank. I'm avoiding A sets because I don't have enough Gales, but it seems to be about the same. Maybe a little more damage on some of the higher end targets, but you know.
I didn't think it was any high. I thought, to me, it felt like it was exactly the same, like no change at all. Even with those Forsaken ships that they put in to the A sets, like even they felt exactly the same. I wouldn't have said I noticed a damage increase, but maybe that's it. I guess it sort of depends on the fleet you're using.
Yeah, well, for me, it was only in the 101s, but they said in the forums that, yeah, it's only just cosmetic. That should be the exact same. The B set damage I had was lower, but my fleet was better. But I didn't notice any real change in the difficulty of the non-101 targets that I was up against.
See, I only did A sets and 101s. I did a couple of them, and I'm with Liam. I didn't actually notice any difference in damage. I took the same amount of damage from a 101 this time as I did last time. Same with the A sets.
The only difference I think I noticed on the 101s is the torpedoes on the V2s. Whenever I got in range, those torpedoes were doing significant damage. I don't know if they were doing the same damage last month. But as long as I keep them at max range and kite, it was fine. It was the same, like 3 coins, 2 coins sometimes, because it's an hour and 2 minutes and done.
No, it's not. Sorry, excuse me, Mark. No, I thought there was a backfeed coming from Mark's computer, but it's not. So I can hear like a fan or something coming from someone's computer. I can hear it quite loud on my end. I don't know if anyone else can hear it.
Yeah, I hear it too.
It may be me.
Yeah, I can hear it, but I've got my mic muted.
Hold on, I'll mute it and see if it's me. Okay?
Shouldn't be you, Lucy. And now it's gone. It's gone, it is, Lucy! Why is it doing that? It never normally does that.
You know, a minute ago I was going to come on here and say I dare everybody to pick on Liam all night, but I really...
Now Lucy's dead because she can talk.
I really think everybody should pick on her all night.
Yeah, you've ruined the show, Lucy.
Yeah, it's gone now.
It's gone.
I think I might just go out and let someone else come in, because my computer's going to do it anyway.
That's odd, Lucy, because I've streamed from your computer a lot and never had that.
Okay, I'm going to hop out, right? And let someone else come in, okay?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Stop now.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Pick on her too much.
Yeah, so I mean, generally for me, like I kind of feel that the raid is easy. It's very easy. In fact, it's probably easier than many raids have ever been for me. It's probably almost feel like saying, you know, hitting the 101s is the easiest raid I've ever done. But I know that's for like the top 10% of the players that is that. But for the rest of the players, for the players that don't have, you know, rhinos in a Punisher tank or any kind of tank built, I mean, there just doesn't seem to be any real viable way of them hitting the top targets unless they get help from other people.
All they get is a C set, that's it. Without a C set and without some assistance from us, they're getting nothing at all.
And a lot of players can do the B set too. I was checking on map and checking the alliance mates. I mean, a lot of people are able to do B set alone, on their own. I mean, and you know,
with no tank, with no deflection tank.
With no deflection tank. All they needed was really like fast ships, right? 30 combat speed or so, and a lot of gales or hails.
Frostbites are still pretty strong, though,
Yeah.
in the B sets, I imagine, especially for non-deflection holes.
X, what were you going to say there, X?
I think it's. I mean, I was watching a lot of people in the sector we're in. They're hitting the low end targets. They're grinding. I think the raid, honestly, my opinion was very. It was very comfortable, knowing that there's little guys out there that are doing it on their own, and then they're doing it on their own, but they're not asking for help. If you notice in comms, I haven't really noticed anybody asking for help.
Oh, I have.
I've noticed one or two, but
me too.
I think you're always going to get that. I mean, I don't know. For me, I just feel that the raid is tailored. I would feel that if I don't say it, then if I don't say something, then I'm doing the community a disservice. Like I feel that the raid is tailored to high end, and I just don't feel that there's a middle ground. Like for me, to hit the A set compared to hitting a 101, the price difference is so dramatic that you're probably talking almost 30 million in points difference for the same value of coin.
See, I think the C set could be worth a little more than it is, really. To be honest,
Yes.
I think that would alleviate a lot of the problem if they made the lowest end set worth more than 100K. Do you know what I mean?
That's a very good point. That's something that they need to address as a point payout, not make it easier.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they need to make it easier, but if they made it so that the low-end target paid out a more reasonable amount of points, it would alleviate the pain point right there for a lot of the lower players, I think.
Ideally, in a format like this, you would try to create, a reasonable idea of what you'd expect for fleets for a player hitting C's, B's, and A's, and adjust the damage to points ratio such that the appropriate level bracket or tech bracket or skill bracket could hit that fleet and achieve the best damage to points ratio. So it's the best for them. And this time I know they did, and last time they did if you hit below your level, the points are decreased, which I guess they kind of have to do. It's a bit unfortunate, but okay, where was I going with this point?
Sorry. Well, I mean, I just feel that for me, like the elite targets. So, for example, the high-end targets, the 101s, in all previous raids, they've been the hardest target to hit. It cost you probably the most, if not on par with the say the A set, for example. But it's a way for coiners to go in there and finish their raid quicker, those that don't have the time. Whereas the A sets in this raid, or before raids it would be something different, they would be the cheaper method, but the longer method, the longer grind. But in this raid that just doesn't seem apparent at all. I mean, the 101s seem cheap, easy, quick, whereas the A sets seem brutal, painful, long, and I just don't understand, like, just the balance scale for me seems very off between C set up to 101, and with the whole store being next raid, that's a big opportunity for many players. So I kind of feel that, if there's something they're going to correct, they need to correct it before then.
I don't know, Liam. The way I see it, it's like, and that's just a guess here, okay? It's like the mega hole. It's something that we've had since the previous series of raids when we moved away from Scourge into Draconian again, right? So the mega hole was there, and they started evolving every month a little bit, and now it's being stable 2 months in a row. So I think everyone is like better prepared after 4 or 5 months of mega hole to hit it. But it's still the second month of that A set, and I see on our page, on Facebook page, I already see people posting setups that allow them to do a whole tier A for 2-3 coins, 4 coins. So I think people are getting there. It's just that these targets are newer, and the mega hole has been there for longer. So maybe eventually next month or the month after, Kixeye gets rid of the mega hole or change it to be a bit harder again, and by then everyone's kind of like adapted to hitting the A set. So I don't know. It's just a guess.
I think that a lot of the players are still in the adjustment phase for the set targets in this raid type. A lot of players might not have a lot of anti-mortars. They're instead relying on speed to outrun it, or maybe not a lot of explosive defense or whatever. Like I bought 10 gales this raid. I figure maybe next month I can hit the A set and do well, but I had to prioritize now Gales, now a little more speed, now a better tank, and working through it, you get a little more prepared for the targets, and they become easier, I guess. I think people are adjusting, and with the addition of the limited prizes, especially Gales, I think that people are going to hopefully be better prepared for it next month.
Bang on, Brian. Bang on. And you know what? Because I see people saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't hit B set with rhinos." But then you check, the rhinos were built with MC3 because they built those rhinos back when they needed to do Forsaken mission or when they were doing the previous series of raids where it was all missiles, right? So, you know, now you got to adapt. You got to take out that MC3, put either a D6A, HP3, or MX3. I don't know. And some people, or I still saw a lot of people driving their rhinos behind their tank and then getting crushed by mortars, right? And that's why I think I posted, since raid started, I wrote the same thing 10 times in different posts. It's keep your rhinos side by side with your tank, right, on the outside. So if your target's here to the right, your tank's here spotting, triggering RT, and then your rhino's got to be to the side, and I still see people running them behind and say, oh my god, I can do it.
I've seen a lot of that, Ren, as well. I mean, I spoke to a guy in cons today, and he was doing that exact thing, like, and I had to go into a 101 and show him because his fleet was just getting killed because he didn't split his fleet up, like.
Yeah. And I see people, I mean, with the right specials, with the right amount of gales or hails, and positioning the tank properly, again, not a deflection tank, but able to do BSAT. And that's why I said people are getting used to it. It's month 2 of this series of raids. I guess by month 3, most people will know how to drive against these targets, right?
Okay, I agree with you. I mean, I think that there is a learning curve in the game, and you know, when a new raid comes out, everyone does get a bit upset about it and a bit carried away. But gradually, we kind of learn and adapt to it, and I think that there is a process of that going on. But what about? I mean, for me, I just think that the game does need to focus on the lower end as well as the higher end. Like we need to be making sure that there's an adequate area for lower ends to grow and mid levels to grow and continue to play, and continue to want to play, to continue to have fun. And I think raids is a big part of that fun. Winning new prizes and new ships is part of that fun. But what about the players that don't have rhinos? What about the players that don't have, draconian carriers or punishers or any of these fleets? What about the players that are just running off of quite standard fleets or older fleets? Yeah. Kodiaks or fusion cruisers. What about the players that haven't been able to do those raids and want to come up and play?
Yeah, but you got to remember too that they're introducing the Rhino a heck of a lot more in the game with the campaigns and everything. It's there. It's just
that's for the FN.
Yeah, and here's another thing, right? I mean, let's say people didn't use any of the 25 opportunities they have to win a Rhino. Let's say somebody still doesn't have a Rhino, okay? There is a campaign that nowadays is relatively easy because all the tech you need is tier 1 and 2 in FM, and you can win Proto-Mastodons. And I have a couple built, and I went out and I took out a 63 just for the fun of it. I had 3 Mastodons, and I was running a tank. And the thing with because the thing with the Mastodon, it does die a lot faster than a Rhino, right? But it has a longer remote target range, so you can keep it even further away from the tank to avoid any sort of splash. So I was able to finish a 63 with a tank and the Mastodons as far as possible, right? And I think all the Mastodons were like instant repair, minimum splash damage. So the tech is there, right? It's just, again, I think people are not driving right in many cases and just getting desperate, right? Skies falling kind of thing.
No, I believe that the tech is there too. I mean, I think that I would feel safe in saying that maybe 80% of the player base builds their fleets wrong. You know, and I think that's true, and I think that a large part of complaints on the forums and stuff, it could fall to that. It could fall to players just not building their fleets right and not having them set up correctly. But I don't know. For me, I was hitting the 101s and I was thinking, wow, this is great. And then I was looking around and I was looking at other players that didn't have the fleets I had, and I kind of felt guilty. Like I felt bad for them, and I was thinking, you know, if I was in that position, I'd be upset. You know, I'd be livid. You know, I kind of felt guilty for the players that didn't have the opportunity I had. Yeah, and that was why I wanted to talk about it tonight. You know,
but they have had the opportunity that you had. They've had the same opportunity to win the hole that you've had to win the hole. If they, for whatever reason, haven't won the hole, that's kind of not your fault, Liam.
Well, no, I know that. I know. I'm not like putting the whole weight of the game on my shoulder. You know, it's just I don't know. For me, like I also tried the A sets, and the damage I took in the A sets compared to the damage I took in the 101s was ridiculous. It was like 24 coins to do a whole A set. Don't get me wrong, there was probably some bad driving on my part, but the 101s were like 4 coins, you know, and it's just that to me is ridiculous. Like why would anyone want to do the campaigns? Why would anyone want to do the A sets compared to that? You know.
And by the way,
I was doing A sets for 3 coins.
Yeah, I do think there is a big shortfall of knowledge in like this game as well. There's like we've had so many raids where it's just running in smash stuff, but now we're going back to raids where you've got to learn to think, and you've got to drive your fleets. And I do think there is a lot of people out there who don't know this. Like,
well, that being said, though, I would recommend the next raid's going to be a whole store, and I would tell everyone who can to get a Punisher, because I mean I was helping a friend out with the A sets and using my rhinos with a tank, and it was kind of slow, right? I mean it was cheap, but it was taking me 20-25 minutes to get through an A set, and I decided to take my uranium-based Punishers in there, which are totally not set up to do the raid. They're set up with all ballistic defense. They have no missile defense added to them. They have no explosive defense added to them. Just they got layered 3 on them. And I took them Punishers into the A set, and I tore through the A set in 10 minutes. And with a grease monkey, it didn't cost me more than 5 coins for an A set with a fleet that's totally not set up to do that. Now, if you had a set of Punishers set up to do that, oh my God, you'd be doing it nearly free.
My set was 3 coins, set up, ready to go.
Yeah, I've heard that Punishers, like I know someone that has a Punisher build very similar to yours, Gadget, except for instead of layered 3, he has like D6, you know, and so he has the resistances spread across the board, and he was doing the A sets for like a coin, 2 coins, you know, it was unreal. So Punishers are the way to go, but I mean, so let's, I mean, if you're a player now that is struggling in this raid. Right? If you're a player that's struggling in this raid, and let's just say you're running middle of the road tech, you know, where should players be planning now? Where should their thoughts be going towards getting prepared for the whole store event?
Well, what they should do is be starting to look, instead of going and grabbing one of the halls that the hall that came out in this raid, is they should be getting some of that limited tech to go on the ship after they get it from the this next hall store.
Gales.
Gales, definitely.
Gales, you know, the Gale 1s, obviously they're not as good as the 2s and 3s, but you can still get by with Gale 1s. You know, they're going to be a lot better than Hales, and they're only 400k, I'm pretty sure, each.
Yes.
Right? So that's not that expensive. That's attainable. Do you know what I mean? And it's definitely, if you get Gales, even Gale 1s are going to be far superior to Hailstorms.
Yep.
And somebody said Siege Battery 3. I mean, get Gales, get Siege Battery, you know. Get the D5R armor if you don't have... Because the D5R armor, I mean, not that you need radioactive defense for this monthly event, but you need them for the DMBs. And I mean, if you need an option that builds quickly, D5R now builds in a day. It's the only 5-level armor that builds in a day.
I mean, I know we talked about on Tuesday's show, we talked about fleet options for players being able to go from tier 1 to 6. You know, do you think it's viable for them to be able to build a fleet that's going to be able to do these raids for the next raid going from tier 1 to 6?
Coin free? No.
Not coin free, but you know, I think people at the top of the tech ladder can do now like about 1 million points per coin, or 2 million points per coin, something like that, right? I think, is it possible to do tier B? And I don't know what's the bonus for tier B when you're lower level, because at my level I think we're still getting them discounted, right?
It's
Are we?
half a mil.
Half a mil.
Tier B without a penalty is about 1 million per entire set, including the bonus.
So there you go. So 1 million. I mean, if they can get 1 million points for 4 coins, something like that, it's very reasonable, right? And can they get that technology? I think so, because going back, rhinos or protodons with long-range missiles and the right specials, and one good tank. So I'd say between now and then, all they have to build is one good tank, assuming they have one of those remote targets.
I would say tank as well, because even if you don't have a remote target and hull, if you had something like V2H with missiles on, and you had a good tank, all you have to do is put the tank far enough in front of them so that it's taking the damage and they're taking minimal splash, and you're going to be able to do it. 98 range on a missile is quite a lot of distance for you to position a tank between the target and your fleet.
But then
True, you could run the tank right towards the island of turrets and leave the V2s behind. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
You don't need remote target.
But it's tricky. It's tricky. If you need to drive them behind the tank, I mean, you gotta shift to the right or to the left a little bit.
But
I see what you're saying.
I mean, I took I did it for a test. I took my Punisher and 4 interceptors into a 101, and I only have disruption missiles on my interceptors because I haven't done anything to them. But I was able to do a 101 for 6 coin. Only thing
And by the way,
was my...
don't discount the disruptors, because with their bypass, they work really well against these targets, and their building damage is pretty high.
Yeah, they're just as good as a Harrier.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean,
sorry, go on.
No, go on, Monster. Go on.
But I mean, we're all talking about tanks here and all saying Punishers and that. But as we're talking about the lower end guys, maybe they haven't got that ship. So what would you use as a tank?
Jug X ? It's the best. It was my first tank, and it performed fantastically. Here, it might not do so much good because there's a lot of explosives, but with all those armor slots, you could definitely do something with that.
Yeah, the problem with the tank is it's really, if you're looking to use it for the next raid, it's got to be something that you already have built that you just have to refit. Because I mean, I suggested a Gore Saber as a tank to someone, and I took a bit of heat for it. But to be honest with you, with the 15% armor abilities, Gore Sabers make an awesome tank. Problem is, they're a 20+ day build. So if you don't already have them built, there's it's going to be difficult for you to get that built and ranked and ready to go before the next raid. And rank does matter on a tank, because if you've got antis on the tank, your rank is applying to them.
But even the B set, without deflection hell, you've not got a chance. You really haven't.
And I'm gonna. I saw a guy doing that, and I was impressed. Doing a 60-something with a Savage Kodiak as a tank, because if you check the stats, and most people don't remember that, the Savage has a bonus for anti-mortars built in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys remember that. I didn't, but I went and checked.
Also got quite a good missile defense buff as well.
If you put your rhinos or dawns far back to the side, and you lead with the Kodiak, it has very good resistance, and it's going to boost your offensive because it's plus 50% reload on the missiles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can load it with Gales, and there you go. It's a good tank for B, and it's something a lot of people have.
Isn't it 50% missile defense as well?
As well, yes. And there's a lot of executioners on those targets, so it helps.
To be fair, I mean, there's been campaigns available that's released the Rhinos as well. So it's not implausible to think that a mid-level player could potentially build some Rhinos. I mean, they don't even have to put armor on them. They just have to weaponize them and put specials on them. And get a tank together. And they've kind of they can probably get that fleet together before the next raid without having to convert too much coin into it. Yeah,
and the other thing is, I mean, a lot of players have old hulls. They're not using much. And I used that approach before in other past events. When I just had this whole bunch of flagships or ships that I wasn't using much, just put them to trigger and start damaging them all. I mean, at some point at the end of the day, you're going to have 5, 6, 7 of them all dead, but they're just a tank, and they're dead. Now you go to bed and you put them out for repairs, but your rhinos will be back there, or your protodons, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, just a suicide tank to soak up damage, basically.
Have your spare ships, yeah. I mean, Kicksai's famous words quite often is game evolution. You know, they talk about how the game's evolved and how players shouldn't expect to use older hulls to be able to do newer things. And to some extent, I agree with that. I do agree with that. I mean, especially when we're referring to hulls like the Kodiaks and stuff. I mean, that's a hull that's probably well over a year old by now. We're maybe even looking at 2 years old, or coming up close to it. So for a player to come into this game and say, you know, it's not fair my Kodiaks aren't working when they came out 2 years ago, is kind of a bit silly. You know,
but even they're still relevant. I mean,
they are still relevant.
I've got a Kodiak fleet that can auto 4 85s in the Forsaken mission.
Yeah, I use mine to do exactly the same thing. I've got Savage Kodiak with 4 Kodiaks. Level 55 fleet, full of blades, and I auto 85s with it.
And someone posted in our page earlier today or yesterday that they brought their Crusaders out of storage, and they're doing great on the 60s. So, and the Crusader right now, it's a year and a month old.
Yeah, I watched somebody doing that today. They had fireback drones and Crusaders, and they worked really, really well. I was quite shocked. Like,
that's another thing.
New Crusader, isn't it?
No, that's another thing that I haven't heard in a while. You know, Monster is why aren't people trying a drone ship to use it to distract the fire from their main fleet?
Well, that's what he did, mate, and I was quite shocked, but it worked really, really well.
I mean, it used to work in bases, so why wouldn't it work in these?
Well, but to be fair though, one drawback of using drones would be that you can't retarget off of them. But I would definitely love to see drones in these targets and see how they fare. I've yet to see that video of that. So
no,
yeah, my problem with drones is that it ends up driving a lot of repair for those drones, and I understand it does take away. It's a good fire soak, right? Sink.
Yeah, just if you haven't got another good option, you know, most people have drones or have access to drones, you know, so it's something that you could consider if you don't have another option.
Yeah, and I wanted to say something. Last month I didn't have them, and a lot of people were asking, oh, why the heck is Kix offering the Citadel again, right? I mean, 2 months in a row, they've never done it before. The same, like, was top price last month, and now it's again up there, a bit cheaper. But, you know, the Citadels, they do awesome against Tier A. Because you just keep them back there, their remote targeting is immense, and you just drive a tank, and the Citadel's there, and you can get them done real cheap.
Yeah, I did do an A set with the Citadels, and they were a lot of fun. Because I wanted to get that badge, so I just took the Citadels in to do that.
Same here.
They were a lot of fun. They were a lot of fun.
Playing.
Yeah, but yeah, I kind of wish I had a very slightly different build on my Citadels for these bases, but my Citadel fleet is kind of tailored towards hitting player bases, so it's kind of, there's no countermeasures on the tanks, for example, so I've got to drive the tanks like mad just to stay away from those mortars, which is a pain. But they did well. They did do very well. They were a lot of fun. So we've spent half an hour talking about our views on the Renegade raid and our views on the balance and our views on how it affects players across the board. Is there anything anyone else wants to add to it?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I want to add is that, you know, players for the lower levels, I mean, they got to learn from us, because, you know, there's not one person on this panel that hasn't worked their ass off to get what they have now.
I fully agree.
Yeah,
I fully agree. I mean, for a long time in this game, I feel that players that have spent many years in the game were never really rewarded, because a newer player could come into the game, coin the fleet that come out last month, and then level everyone in the game. So I kind of feel that the game's not so much like that at the moment. I kind of feel that like the experienced players are a little bit more rewarded.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was thinking about that today, actually. Is a little while back, it seemed like even if you were coining, even if you were spending a vast amount of coin, buying the latest and greatest stuff, it was still costing you on the front end, and it was costing you on the back end. And recently, I feel like, yeah, I've spent quite a lot of money getting my account to where it is, but now my running costs are actually quite low. Raids are quite cheap for me. You know, doing the FM and the chores are quite cheap for me, you know, or free. And I feel like that balance has sort of started to come back somewhat to the game.
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, I think for me the game is going back to a fun place, because if you look back in the past many months, there haven't been any magic flagships or instant win holes. And I think whoever at Kixeye came up with this deflection idea is a great idea, because kind of reset the game to a point where now all the holes, they have their different strengths and weaknesses, but they're all kind of sort of balanced out, right? I hope they don't come again with something like a new Green Shine Zerker with super deflection to screw everyone up, you know, kind of thing.
Sorry, go on, Brian.
Okay. First, I heard Green Shine Zerker, and that's hilarious. Second, I don't like the idea of deflection being introduced, because you see it especially with these last two raids. I have a deflection tank and rhinos and enough countermeasures, but if I didn't have any one of those three things, I would be in a bad way. And even if you're level 60 or you're a returning player who took the past, 4-ish months off, the Heavy Cruiser was in October, I think, October, November, something like that, then you are way behind the average curve, and just the power of flat damage reduction is amazing if you have it, but because they're now tailoring targets to those that have it, and they're making all the new top prizes have it, and they're even making the top prizes more expensive, it hurts more for those who don't. It's definitely a point on balance. I was a little concerned with the power spiral. Well, it would be getting to a power spiral of deflection just ever increasing, but now they've slowed down on that, and that makes me feel a little better. I just wish that there would be a better way for people to compete without having things with deflection. I can't see a way without it. Maybe I'm just not thinking in the right way.
No, I think you're right,
If I didn't have it, I don't know what it would do.
No, sorry, I think you're right in many ways, but if we go back, one point you made, deflection is not spiraling out of control, right? I mean, if you look at the very first deflection, significant deflection hole with the Neptune, it's still the highest of the regular holes. It has 600 siege deflection. None other hole has that much, right? None of the others that came after it. And even the Centurion now is 475. It's less than the Punisher or less than the Citadel, right?
Yeah, they capped it off, and I mean, I feel like they had to do that because I was getting concerned when it's Heavy Cruiser 300 next month, Drac UAV 450 next month, Punisher 500. Well, are they going to keep going? Is it
I see what you mean. Yeah,
they
right.
stopped.
I mean,
okay, but
I kind of feel.
Sorry, Leon. Just before we move on, what I think it's missing right now, and a lot of people pointed that out, including Gadget. It's a low-end deflection hole, something that's easily obtainable, maybe through FM, through an easy mid-level campaign, something like that that has, I don't know, 250, 300 deflection, no more than that, so people can get started, right?
If it's in the FM, not above tier 3 either.
Yeah.
Well,
definitely.
Yeah.
And what about retrofitting? People keep talking about, oh, the retrofit lab hasn't been used for a while. What if you take a Jug X and make it to R10 and give it 100, 150 siege and assault deflection somewhere along the line? I know they haven't done retrofits in a while, but I think that's a good idea, and a lot of players may already have these holes built, although I feel if you do that, you might need to take the actual physical time on retrofitting the ship down, which is still out of whack because they haven't bothered to fix it, but that might be another alternative.
Well, the retrofit lab is being looked at, I can tell you that much. There is, it won't be something coming tomorrow, but it is something that they're looking at, and you will see time adjustments on it too. I can give you that on good grounds, but
there's some really good changes coming on the retro lab actually.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, Brian, picking up on your comment from before about deflection stats, and for me, my personal opinion is that I feel that they didn't ruin the game with deflection stats. They reset it. They've released something to give them the ability to rebalance the game. I feel that we had like a new development team come into BP, and I think they're doing such a great job of it at the moment. But they came into a mess, and they had to sit back and think, what the hell are we going to do to sort this out? You know, the game is in tatters. And so they come up with this way of introducing this new stat into the game that would let them almost start from zero and begin again. And honestly, I like it. I like the way it's gone. I think it's very, very smart. The way
it reset the power creep, is what it did. It took the power creep back down to zero again, and then they can begin the power creep again.
And since they've done it though, they've as far as I'm concerned, they've been very smart with the balance.
Yeah,
they've tapered it off.
I think since September, October, there's been no power creep in the game. I mean, you look at the UAV, the carriers, you look at the Punishers, the Centurions, they're all sort of like the same kind of power level, but they're just different tools good at different things.
No, but the base power has crept a lot, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, so you got to remember there are two aspects to the game. You know, there's attack and defense, and at the end of the day, the power in the bases has gone up massively since September. So this is my worry, is that at some point, with the curve of the power and the base going up, at some point they're going to have to bring out a hull to match that, and then we're going to be right back into the power creep again.
Yeah, but I mean, here's an easy concept. I was just playing around, and I have a Jugex at R5 with the one thing I think they need to do is bring that missile armor D5M down to a tier 3 price, because putting them in all armor slots on the Juggernaut, you get 160 siege and assault deflection.
Yeah.
I approve very much.
To be honest, I've never agreed with the whole tier 4 and 5 thing in the Retro Lab anyway, because that was first ever created for the lower guys who can't compete in raids. It was supposed to be throughout them. But same as everything else, they whack it all up to make all the big players have to do it, and they make it impossible for the lower guys to be able to get to the elite tier of Retro Lab.
I'm looking through.
My problem with Retro Lab, and I see people especially talking about the Jugex, I think for the state of the game today, it would make for an awful tank, no matter what retrofit you put on it. I mean,
you have to make a special slot.
You have to make it. You have to make it a hell of a lot faster to tank for rhinos, because it's damn slow. You'd have to add a 4th special slot. You'd have to add some deflection. So, you know, I honestly think it's much easier if Kixeye just puts a new hull or a limited version, let's say a Jugex limited edition on a campaign or something like that for 3 million points, let's say in a raid, you know, that people can get it, that has already out of the box all of these features we're talking about.
And make it a reasonable build time.
Well, see,
and can keep up with rhinos and whatnot, because retrofitting an old hull right now, it's just going to be awful.
Well, I think that them holding back on retrofit holes is kind of a good thing. I mean, I know I put a post up about DNXs, but that was more of just a wish list than it was an actual realistic, want. I mean, the thing is, I think Kixeye want the game to move forward, not jump back a year and bring something back. I kind of feel that they want us to move forward as opposed to holding on to the past. And I think retrofits, and honestly, in my opinion, retrofits on holes made the game worse, not better.
Yeah, but I understand they want the game to move forward, but if the smaller guys can't move forward themselves, do you know what I mean? It's just going to be the big guys which jump on leaps and bounds.
No, I mean, I don't know. A couple of weeks ago in our first show, I think I said this in the Tuesday show. I generally believe that they should release a researchable hull that has deflection stats. Not a lot. I'm not saying like ridiculous stats, even 100 to 150, but they should release a researchable hull that has deflection stats built into it that is accessible to everyone.
Yeah, reasonable speed, number of armor slots, 100.
No, yeah, I'm not talking about an overpowered hull, but something that's a viable tank, because that's the game we're in now.
Something that's up to date and that's in line with the current trend and build times, etc., etc.
Yeah, you should get an old campaign like that campaign, what's called Hunt the Nemesis or something like that. That when folks get to level 40, 40 something, or 50, they can do that, right? And then they can get a hole like that, or put T3 FM, or make it 2-3 million points in a raid, which I think most mid levels could make and get that first tank.
Yeah, just as long as it's accessible to everyone, really, or to the vast majority of people,
Or make it only researchable at OP6. Just cap it some way like that in the base. So
what about on player level? On player level, you could say if you reach level 50 in the Forsaken research area, you could get a certain hull. Get to level 60, and then you get another hull. Get to level 70, it goes up again.
Mm-hmm. I would have loved to have seen them put, for the first hole in R&D. I would have loved to have seen that be a deflection hole, because that would have encouraged everyone that's saying I can't be bothered doing it to actually do it. I know it wouldn't affect lower levels. I know, but it would have been a good idea.
Oh, what you mean, like a Punisher instead of the Aegis shards? You get Punisher shards.
Well, something like that. I see you laughing there, Brian. What's wrong?
That I like that idea, and then White Star would have his Punisher, and he'd be happy.
Hey, White Star has coined a fleet of Centurions. He did it.
He has.
Oh yeah, give White Star my condolences. I'd been working on that challenge from last week, and it is going bad. I'm also looking through. I was looking in chat a few minutes back, and I was seeing people saying that they made all non-deflection holes obsolete, and I don't think that's really so much the case. I feel like deflection also makes a lot of the older tech obsolete. Looking through all the weapons that I've seen, I used to use between deflection and the new super awesome unreactive, that basically means you need a boom within a salvo to get a boom. A lot of weapons I just look at and it's just like, that's not really worth it. You need some sort of damage buff or something, and that's what they're doing with the Rhino, with the Punisher. To get through deflection, they're giving you damage buffs to help you. So I feel how they're counterbalancing that. I don't think it's that bad just yet.
Bypass is the way to counter deflection. Anything with a good bypass is your best bet against a deflection hull.
Yeah,
I thought bypass didn't work on deflection in particular. It worked on the percentage resistance.
Yeah, but the way deflection works is when something hits you, it subtracts your resistance percentage from the damage, and then it subtracts your deflection from the damage. So the way deflection holes work is you want your resistances high enough that after resistance is subtracted, your deflection still outweighs the damage that's incoming. However, if you have a bypass hitting you, then half of your resistance that would be subtracted now isn't being subtracted.
Mm-hmm. So basically, what David's saying is, if, say, for example, a missile's hitting you that has 1,000 damage, and you have 50% missile resistance, instantly that's cut to 500, and then you have 400 built-in deflection, and that missile's only hitting you for 100. That's basically what you're saying, guys.
Oh yeah, no, I know the math.
If that missile has a 50% bypass, then now it's only having 250 subtracted with a 750 remainder, so that's 450 over the top of your deflection there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh yeah, no, I knew the math. I just thought.
So that's the counter to a deflection hole is a bypass weapon.
Oh, definitely. I know BP Prof did one, and I do the math quite frequently myself on deflection and such. I just knew that it didn't work against deflection in particular, but yeah, they're good. I have a bunch of Harriers on my Rhinos, and I'm not swapping them out because a lot of stuff has really high resist now, and they're really, really great.
Mm-hmm. So is there anything anyone else has wanted to talk about?
Yeah, the other thing is it's just a sanity check. The older players will remember that. I mean, we used to have to grind our asses off to get a top prize, right? So when I think
36 hours in the chair, solid.
Yeah, like when I think somebody, somebody who can hit the B set and score, like somebody said, 1 million points every time they do so. Still, you're talking about running through the B set 15 times to get the Centurion. So 5 targets, that's what, 75 battles, and you get the Centurion. Am I right?
I stuck a demo squad on my Punishers, and I got 30 million points in 55 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean that's not the average mid-level player.
But it shouldn't happen anyway. Still, even for us.
All I'm saying is like I don't really think, I mean, over what, 4 days, 75 battles, you time it right, it's doable. I'm just trying to, in my mind, people who think they should just be able to sit down for a couple hours and get the top prize are just too entitled. That's how I think.
You're right there, man.
I think everybody's got to remember is, you know, we all have been there. We've all done this where we've grinded for a whole weekend. It's doable, but now the game is. It's easier for us because we've been doing it for such a long time.
Yeah,
And not only that, but I mean, like, I might be able to run through a target, or you might be able to run through a target and make a ton of points very, very cheaply. But I don't know about you personally, but I probably spent $300 or $400 on the fleet that I'm using. You know, so at the end of the day, the reason I can do them so quickly and so cheaply is because I spent a lot of money on the front end getting the equipment to do them cheaply and quickly.
Actually, my build is very simple. The only thing that I have is my tank, which is my Punisher, and my Rhinos that all have D3E armor on them.
And it's not like, I mean, it's not like, you know, a lower level or mid level or someone who's newer to the game. Okay, they necessarily can't get up and get the Centurion, but there's holes in tier 5 and tier 6. You know, there's stuff in there that they could still get something. You know,
if you're brand new to the game, I mean, get a Vindicator, right? If you're a few months into the game, maybe 5 million is doable. You get a Crusader, right?
Yeah, but I would have thought newer players to the game should be looking at more like the siege battery, the armors and stuff, which will help them with all of their hulls, not
totally agree.
Just try and get the top stuff, because the specials and stuff don't change, but they'll go on any hull.
Yeah, and I got to say, I think that as if I was speaking from a lower levels perspective, I would have preferred the prize list the way it was to the way it is in this raid, because even though there was some junk in there, there was also a lot of stuff like Monster's saying, like components, little armors that can help them, that they didn't have the opportunity to get this raid.
I have a lot of words about the prize list, and not a lot of them I can say on air, but I do agree. Also, I don't know where the mindset of this instant entitlement comes from, but I mean, I took my lumps. A lot of time I had to be like, well, I can only get to tier 2. I can only get to tier 3. And I'll get, like, a vivid example for me is I'll get a Flan X3 from hitting target 30 in the 50 target, 10 targets a tier forever ago raids. And I'll get that, and I'll put it on, and I'll do better next time. Like, now, I'll, a new guy, I'll get a DNX or a Vindicator, and I'll do better next time. Or I'll get a Crusader, and I'll do better next time. They're reducing the build times on these holes and all these components definitely to help. It's just, it's okay. There's going to be something next month, particularly next month, because it's a whole store. But also, there's going to be good holes and good prizes to get in due time. You'll get yours. Don't worry about it. And they're probably going to be better when you get them 3 months down the line than the thing you would have gotten right now.
And cheaper than it is right now as well, probably.
I actually did have a little chat with Kixeye about the prizes and the prize list. Now, Kixeye did a little bit of research on this, and they found that players, in their opinion, were picking the wrong prizes. And but by that, what they mean is, we're in a current trend right now where we're doing these type of raids. We've got mines coming up, and we've got all sorts of tech coming up, and the key tech that you need for the next 6 months in the game is in this raid. And Kixeye felt that by streamlining the prize list, players would stop making bad decisions, and they would be able to pick the correct prizes, and then next month when this new thing comes out, they'll already have the thing they need to put on that ship, instead of saying, oh, I need this, when are you going to bring that out? So Kixeye, maybe I've worded that wrong, and I haven't worded that exactly as it was said to me. That's just the way I've worded it, but I think that they felt that by streamlining the prize list, players would be able to make better decisions that's going to suit them better moving forward. So it was actually it was made in an effort to help people and not to hinder people.
But in a way, it kind of does hinder people. Like, for instance, I've been helping out a mate this raid, and he's been out of the game for quite a while, and he's just gotten back into the game. and I got him. I helped him get the Centurion and the particle accelerator cannon. The problem is that he doesn't have the specials to go on it. He doesn't have the armors to go on it. He doesn't have the stuff that he needs.
Well, he should really be putting the reflective coating, siege battery, D4R. I mean, that's all in the raid. That's what you should put on it.
So now my cost to help him goes up from 25 million points to like 40 million points.
You can get reflective coating 3 in one of the campaigns, mate, as well.
Sea of Flames one that mentioned it in a post. I think there could have been a nice middle ground. I mean, I somewhat understand the reasoning behind streamlining the prize miss so much. It's really helping focus the players. Hey, you need mortars, you need ballistics, like actual need. Don't worry about anything else. That makes me feel a little bit sad. I feel like a good part of the fun and failure too, probably, in a strategy game comes from experimenting. Sometimes it goes right, sometimes it goes wrong, but there's really not much in here for missiles. I know there was the campaign for that, but I think they could have done a couple of things. I think they could have maybe added a third or fourth prize and choose 2, and the second prize would be it doesn't have to be anything great, something like people were saying the Earthshaker or a good siege cannon, even just lighter, more versatile things like impact cannon D30R, resistances, reasonable, really low weight, good for taking up empty weapon slots, or also just making things prize packs like you have in the campaigns, like instead of 150,000 for the DNX, if you get to 250,000, you get the DNX and siege mortar, pick a letter. Just here's a good hole, here's something that goes with it, and maybe in different prize packs they'll have a good special and a good armor or something, just something a little more. There definitely is a lot of good prizes in the raid. I just feel that pick one per tier is a little minimal.
And I think that's a great idea. You mean like the prize packs and the campaigns?
Yeah, exactly.
Where you complete a level of the campaign and you get like 3 or 4 prizes that all kind of relate to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a much better way of doing it, because that way you're giving them stuff that's relevant to the thing that they're winning. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I can certainly see it from both sides. I mean, for me, it's hard to really. Like, I don't need anything in any of those tiers, and it doesn't really matter what they put in there. I probably wouldn't need it. So it's difficult for me to really have a true opinion on it unless there was stuff I needed and wanted. But I do kind of feel that, at least from my own perspective, I felt that it was a step in the right direction, because I felt that if players picked, the prize lists and were able to build a fleet that can take mines next month, then they're sorted. Whereas if they put a load of other stuff in there, players would have picked a load of random stuff, won't be able to do mines next month, and the forums will be flooded with complaints of that people saying they don't have the tech available to do them.
Yeah, but
I think on top of the one choice per lower tier, and I think Liam's bang on that. Like, don't give people too many options, because they're going to end up screwing up. And oh, I saw a guy with a really cool sub fleet. I want to build a cool sub fleet. Right now, in the state of the game, if you want to get up in the tech ladder, why the heck would you build a sub fleet? It's the wrong timing for that, right? Now, by having only one choice on the lower tier, the next thing they can do now is, hey, let me look at those limited prices, and maybe I should start getting some Gale 1s, or maybe I should get I don't have Speed System 5, but I can get a hydraulic resistor or whatever, you know what I mean? Get stuff there that's also going to be relevant on top of your basic choices on the lower tiers. That's my thinking. Mm-hmm. Get tokens.
Yeah, I mean, I do also want to say, Brian, I did really like that idea about the price packs as well. I thought that was a great idea, and that's certainly something I'll make sure I mention.
Thank you.
Oh, it is a good idea. The price pack's good.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be a great thing to add in.
Yeah,
but still, I'd still offer price packs within a theme, right? Oh, this is what's like the game needs you to have in the next 6 months. Here are a couple price packs. Pick one. Either one there, no matter which one you like better, will help you do well in the next few months. Then that's good.
Even if you look at the other tech though in like this raid, the Crusader with some orbs on, with the armor which you can get from this raid and the specials which you can get from this raid would do the new mines as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And that's exactly why they put them in there. That's exactly why these textures are the way they are.
Yeah.
Do you not think for the mid-level players, there's a big difference between PvE and player versus environment, obviously, and player versus player. The complete different text required.
Definitely, and I think for me, I like PvP a damn sight more than I like PvE. But if I don't do PvE, I ain't gonna have to quit to do the PvP. You know, so it's kind of like the game is you're forced to do both. But there is a lot of players now that just do PvE. You know, they don't even bother with the player interaction at all.
Guilty.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
you can't do PvP. You can't do it. Not for mid-level. You can't. It's only the high-level guys that can.
well, we do. We're coming up to our hour mark, and I want to try and stick to it this week if we can. Is there any other subjects that you guys want to go into? Is there anything?
I just wanted to say hello.
Hiya, how's it going? Anyone? Is there anything anyone wants to add about the Renegade or?
We've got to look forward, Liam.
Sorry.
We've got to look forward to.
What have we got to look forward to?
Yeah. What's coming?
Mines. Mines.
You know more than that.
Mines and
OP8.
OP8 and mines, and you've got a lovely, lovely automatically repairing dock to look forward to, guys.
At last.
And a half repair base fleet, so live the dream.
I just want to second Ren's point really quick about limited prizes, especially Gales. I know I've said it entirely too much during the hour, but definitely limited tech, certainly a great option. They're going to help with what's going on in the future because now we know we're up against mortars, and these are the best against mortars, and especially hydraulic resistors. If you don't have Speed System 5, they're a great pickup as well.
Well, listen, guys. I mean, obviously, we all know that the whole store's coming next. So, players need to get themselves prepared for that, especially players trying to play catch-up or players new to the game, mid-levels. You know, if there is any players out there that want some advice on what to build, they come into our page, and our admins will be on hand to try and help you the best way we can. If anyone's looking for some advice on what to build, PM me or post in the page, and I'll have a chat with you. We'll have a look at what tech you've got, and we'll see if we can work something out to get you ready for the next raid. So join our page, and the link to our page will be posted in the video here. Now, I did say that this was a review show, so I want you guys to give me a rating out of 10 on the Renegade. How does that sound?
7.
7? 7 from you, TM? Is that TSM?
Yeah.
TSM, sorry. 7 from you, TSM. X, what's your opinion?
I'm going to give it a 7.
7. Brian?
8 for me. 4 if I try to sympathize with the lower levels. I'm fortunate.
Gadget?
Yeah, I'd be the same as Brian, really. I'd say from my perspective, it's an 8 or a 9, but from a lower levels perspective, I'd say it's about a 4 or a 5.
J-Boy? If you're still with us? Okay. Rating on the raid, 1 out of 10.
All-round players, big players, or small players?
From your own perspective, what would you give it as a rating?
I'll give it probably a 7. It got bloody boring.
Quark PGC.
Hello, mate. I'll go 7 as well.
7. Ren?
From a selfish perspective, I'd give it an 8 or a 9, especially because of the 101s. And because everything now is co-op, I like co-op. I think, for the mid-levels, there's some catching up to do. But I gotta say, everyone rating like 7, 8, whatever is way better than the rates the Scourge were getting.
Yeah. No, I agree.
-2.
These raids are definitely a vast improvement on raids we've seen, for sure. Monster?
From a personal point of view, mate, I'd give it a 9 or 10. It was easy and it was cheap. But from the lower guys, well, I don't know. They're going to struggle, like so.
Okay.
4 or 5, like, by then.
Trinidad?
I'd say about a 7. It was easy. I liked it, but I know for lower level players it was extremely tough.
Mm-hmm. From my own perspective, I would say about a 7 as well. I would say for me it was easy, but I think moving forward, Kicks, if you do get a chance to watch this, I feel that a little bit of addressing needs to be done in the campaigns. Maybe not necessarily in the A's and B's, but I would like you to perhaps look at increasing the score in the C's, just to give those lower levels a chance.
I'm going to give Lucy's part of it, even though she's here with you. She's going to give it a 2 because it's too hard for her kind of level.
Lucy, it is too hard for Lucy. It's a shame she couldn't take part in the show because.
No, but she asked me to speak up for her, so I'm giving it a 2.
Right. No, she's only got the only usable fleet she's got is Gore Sabers, which is just completely not worth it in this raid. So.
So Liam, if I can, my last message is to the mid levels. Join an alliance. Find a guy in the alliance that's willing to help you. Send that guy 50 coins. You're gonna get whatever top prize you want. Honest is the cheapest way of catching up.
Definitely. I agree with that. I agree with that. If you're in an alliance, this is the time to join an alliance, especially an alliance that are willing to help out. If you've got a friend or someone that you can do exactly what Ren said there and send them 50 gold and they'll get your raid done, no problem. I do kind of feel that being in an alliance is a massive, massive benefit in the current game.
That being said, don't be a douche. Don't join an alliance just to get helped out, and then as soon as you get stuff leveled up, leave.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
That's terrible, and that's not the reason why I've been in 10 different alliances in the last 2 weeks. Okay.
hey, fellas, before the show's over, how have y'all done in the raid so far?
Took about an hour and a half, mate, for me, and I was done.
Yeah, I've played it maybe 4 hours total time, and I'm at 81 million.
Nice.
And that's under 100 coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at 139 mil, and I'm also under 100 coin.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the kind of raid that if you've got what it takes, if you've got the right fleet, then you're pretty much doing it for next to nothing, aren't you?
Yeah.
But it costs you to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, listen, I want to take a moment to thank everyone that's come out on the panel tonight. Obviously, all the show admins and all of the guests here. We've had a good discussion here, and I appreciate everyone that's come out to watch the show too, taking time out of your own raids to come and watch the show, which is great. The show is watched by Kicks, and we'll try and pass on community's words and the opinions expressed in the show. Keep following the page, and next week should be an exciting week because we don't have a huge whip and we don't have a raid to talk about. So we have maybe an opportunity to explore some of our own ideas next week and go into some of the stuff we want to do with the show. So catch us on Tuesday because I think it's going to be a good show. And I hope you all get what you want in the raid.
Well, I tell you what, brother, this show it's doing really good for a short period of time as it's been together.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're trying hard to do something great here, and we really appreciate the community support. So thank you very much for that.
How much is that Liam owes you for that?
No, man, I was talking to Liam before, as soon as he left the old show, I was talking to him. I don't know if he recalls Trinidad. I'm Trent, that I was chatting with you on Facebook Messenger.
I remember, yeah. Yeah, no, it's going fantastic, and it's going fantastic because everyone's working hard on the show, all the admins and all the communities getting involved, and we're just having a great time right now. And I cannot forget our silent admin Andrew, because Andrew does some real great work for the show. He does all of our artwork and our banners and our videos and our intros. He's an absolute art whiz kid, and he deserves a huge amount of credit because he's never on the show to get any. So.
Yeah, Andrew's awesome, man.
So thanks very much, Andrew.
I had been a long-time follower of BV, bro, and I was really ticked when I saw how Dave was being treated that one show where he left. I mean, he's an extremely smart player, and the way they done him, it irritated the piss out of me, and it was primarily, it seemed like it was Jeff that was just piling on him. And it's like, hey, you know what? He's a certain type of player. Why pile on him? At least he shares his builds and helps others out.
Well, no, I appreciate what you're saying there. I mean, it's important for us to focus on what's ahead, I suppose, as opposed to what's been done. But
future.
Again, so good night, everyone. Sorry, I've dragged on the outro there. Thanks, everyone, for coming out, and good night. Say goodbye, everyone.
Have a good night, fellas.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Good weekend.